Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Bronkie the Bronchiasaurus for Super Nintendo. We are now on level 2. As you can see, we are at a lake. There's water we can't jump into, seemingly can't jump into. That feels like a big, huge bottomless pit right there, if there's any indication. And the game's gonna get harder. I just know it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get on with this. Let's just jump over this fuzzy animal because that's one of the asthma triggers. First of all, you don't want to jump in the water because that takes down an entire hit point. And if you lose a hit point, you die. If you die, you go all the way back to the start. There are no checkpoints in this game. And that could be really nasty later on because of the level design of this game alone. I also want to see if there's anything up here. Thankfully, there's not anything that I can use. I finally found out what that green circle in the upper left is. Turns out that's your peak flow. If it's green, you're good to go. If it's yellow, you're getting kind of weak, and I'm pretty sure it can reach a red zone too. If the asthma monitor thing at the end of every stage is any indication. And there's that guy with the cold that we mentioned before the end of the last video. You cannot destroy him. If he sneezes on you, your peak flow is going down. And believe it or not, if your peak flow is anything below green, you cannot use your breath attack to defeat any enemies. So keeping that in mind, you definitely want to make sure you don't run into any triggers as you go through the stages, because if you do, the game's gonna get a lot worse. Might as well go ahead and use my breath attack here. Take care of this guy from a distance. The breath attack actually goes quite a good ways, and you want to take this top rope here so you can go to the question here. You can avoid serious asthma problems if you watch for early warning signs. Awesome. So we got that now. So let's go back down here and take the lower road here. Make sure not to run into anything that could hurt us. Now thankfully, if you touch the guy with the cold, he can't hurt you. It's just a sneeze that can do any damage to you. Also, you want to be quick on those lily pads, even though they can come back. Keep that in mind for later. Also, you want to be very careful when you try to get on those logs because you don't want to jump into the water. If you go to yellow on the peak flow, and it's from the guys that make you sick, the guys with the cold, you can just go to select the use sick day plan, and then you can use that. And in case you're in the red and you're sick, you can use the sick day plan and the inhaler in order to get all the way back up to green. Also, what are some early warning signs of asthma? Shorten of breath and tightening my chest, that's one. Coughing and lowered peak flow, though they're both symptoms, so all of these. Also, leaping on these guys, be careful when you land on the beak. It is possible to like land on it and then quickly just slip off. It is very much possible. Also, you want to be very careful as you make your way across places there, because you don't want to jump into water or run into any pollen or anything. Pollen can be hard to see if you're not careful. And thankfully, I made it through that little stage there perfectly. We got 1 of 3 down. Hopefully, I won't have as hard a time on the next 2 stages like in the practice run, because that's when my peak airflow started dying on me. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of pits, whether it be water or actual bottomless pits. And it's gonna be that way throughout the rest of the game, and because of that, I'm not a big fan of the level design. When your early warning signs begin, tell an adult and check peak flow. If you take medicine and there is no improvement, tell an adult about it. And we have to avoid furry animals and pollen, and of course this guy will have a cold. There will always be a guy with a cold in every stage from level 2 on out. So you gotta be careful. You also want to leap near the edge there so that way you don't fall in the water. Also want to be careful here. There's the guy with the cold that I want to avoid. Thankfully there's not really much anything of worth up there. And I was able to hit that guy too. Definitely want to take the best of care while getting someplace. Also, if any enemies fall into the pits, they'll be gone for good. So just keep that in mind as you get through these stages. I don't think there's anything up down there, but I know there's something up here. Let's go ahead and take care of him. Thankfully, you shouldn't be able to see pollen when you go higher up, which is good because you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So you won't have to deal with it if you go up higher elevations and the lake areas. And that was a dead end. I don't know why I did that. Let's get up. Let's get back up there. I know the inhaler is here somewhere, but you do want to go up here anyway because this is where you get the question for the wind machine piece. If your peak flow drops and your asthma is not working, you should tell an adult. Obviously. Let's just stay there so that way we can grab that part. And thankfully I'm able to see that vine down there. I wonder, is there anything down there that I can grab? Well, there's a lily pad. We can go to the left here. We can grab the inhaler. Now let's wait for the lily pad to come back. And get over here. We got another question. When early warning signs begin, take medicine and eat and relax, tell an adult and measure peak flow. Those are both good things, so let's go ahead and use all of these. Have to press start again, just to get that message box to go away. And there's really nothing up there for the most part. Do want to take care of all the enemies here though, because enemies can be really nasty. And I believe, yep, there's another egg, in case you need another hit point. Now this is where I start hating the level design. And I just went to yellow on the peak flow. Great. Want to make my way a little bit to the right here. Now, sometimes if you're standing still while you're sick, your character will pretty much cough like that. It can be annoying. While you're coughing, you can't move for that little split second. And I should have used my sick day plan. I didn't know it was that close to the end of the level. Oh well. I'll be able to do something next time. So no perfect bonus here, sadly. But I am doing better than I did in the practice run. Level design actually gave me some trouble. If you have an asthma emergency, tell an adult and try to stay calm. Getting upset can make a bad situation worse. Sound advice. Anyway, we have to avoid pollen and furry animals. There's the guy with the cold again. That's... yeah, you kind of know what to avoid from here on in. I need to get to that sick plant icon in the stage though, because the little health replenishments aren't going to help me in any way. Thankfully there's one here. Now thankfully I'll have a better way of knowing if I've reached the end of the stage. And thankfully I was able to see that vine there. Is there anything like to the left there? Well, there's the inhaler. And for some reason, the game just would not let me move. I just had to cough right there. I'm expecting the level design to be just as bad here as it was in the last stage. Also, this guy again. Thankfully, you can stand on the little plank here and talk to the guy. There we go. In an asthma emergency, you should tell an adult, stay calm, and start my emergency plan. First one is obviously incorrect, so it's just there to trip you up. I definitely don't feel like looking for Hazel again. And while you're answering a question, the brightness goes back to normal, which is a good thing. And I just now realized that I can't use my breath attack because I'm at yellow right there on the peak flow. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of the level design in this game. Playing through both levels 2 and 3 on the practice run. Oh, let's go ahead and talk to this guy. If you become upset when your asthma gets worse, you can remember that getting upset will not help. Good. Relax and do belly breathing to calm down. Also good. So all of these. As I was saying, it's kind of like playing the first Bubsy game. There are sequels such as Fractured Furry Tales, the 3D game, and even Bubsy 2, which not many people remember. And I have to go down there, don't I? Great. It's kind of like Bubsy in that everything just feels all over the place in terms of level design. It's just so many different ways to get to places. And I can't believe I grabbed that rope there. And the fact that there are no checkpoints around really makes it worse. Especially to me. There's another... I'm about to say there was another health extension that I don't need, and then there's this guy. I avoided that. Ugh! Great, now I'm gonna have to go through this entire level over. I hate the timing on the little heads that come in and out of the water. I'm sorry, I just absolutely hate them. That's another thing I hate about the game. Those platforms that are basically the little dinosaur heads that come in and out of the water. The timing on those are just nuts, even if you are a seasoned game player. And it makes me wish this game was made with the audience in mind. Now you would think gamers with asthma would be probably a narrow audience. Nope, that is a very broad audience. And this game came out in 1995. What do you think the number of asthmatics was that had never played a video game in their life? I'm not quite sure, to be honest. But if it's an educational game and you want people to play a game that's relevant to them in terms of, being an educational game, such as being about asthma or diabetes, the first thing you want to do is make sure as many people as you possibly can play your game. Also, it's this one. Because if you don't, you're going to have a rough time with your game. Not everybody's going to be able to enjoy it. I mean, I know you don't want it to be too easy, but at the same time, you don't want it to be overly difficult either. And that's where this game kind of messes up in some aspects. Especially when it comes to trying to grab vines and whatnot. Sometimes I think I'm holding the up button while trying to jump up off a vine and then try to grab it again, but sometimes I'm not. It's nice that they thought of that. And there's another vine right there, which I can barely see. Yet another example of me hating the level design of this game. if you want to make an educational game, especially for kids, you want to make sure that as many people as possible can actually play it. You don't want to make it too hard. Otherwise, not everyone's going to be able to enjoy it. And there's that maximum hit. And I just hate this guy. And I managed to nail it this time. Alright, we're nearing the end here. I can kind of tell because of these snails that are going up and down on these walls. Believe it or not, you actually can jump on these guys, and they do act as platforms. And when I go through this tree, I'm going to end the level. So here's what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to lose the inhaler and the sick day plan, whenever I exit a level, I have to find them again every single time. I'm going to press select test peak flow, and it pretty much tells you how to do it. Reset the meter, breathe in, put meter in the mouth and blow out hard. Blow out as hard as you possibly can. And we can see that we're in the yellow. We are sick, so we need to use the sick day plan. And basically all it says about the sick day plan is that you and your doctor can make a sick day plan that is best for you. It doesn't really tell you what to do for a sick day plan. It just leaves it up to your doctor, which is a good idea because not everybody is going to have the same sick day plan, obviously. And if you're further below green, if you're still below green, you can use the inhaler. I'm just going to go ahead and use it now just because I'm so close to the end of the level. And it shows you how to use the inhaler. Now, when you exit the level, it will tell you if you've used your sick day plan and your inhaler. I'm assuming the white one is the one you use before every stage, and the red one is going to be the rescue inhaler, just in case. You need not use a rescue inhaler, but in case you're really in dire straits, you can use it. And at least we didn't run into any triggers, so we get 5 more breath attacks, and we can finally take on the final boss. Not the final boss, but the second boss. Stego. As tall as 6 giant anchors and as heavy as 2 submarines, this guy's hobbies are eating frogs and sailing. Now, hit this guy. Move away from the little projectiles that he spits out. They always move to the left and then to the right. When he's near death, he shoots out 3, but if you keep hitting him, he'll go down pretty easily, and you can get this last wind machine part for stage 2. So now we got this thing set up, which is great. And we can continue on to the third world. There are many asthma triggers, such as smoke, pets, weather changes, and catching a cold. For some people with asthma, contact with the trigger can make asthma worse. Very good advice there. We are now in the jungle. We have to deal with pollen, but we also have to deal with feathers, a new asthma trigger. Also, the pelicans here are the ones with the cold. You definitely want to stay away from them. I'm going to take this guy out before I call this one a video here. Join me next time where I go through the jungles of World 3. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!